Hey everyone, welcome back to another Fireside Chat. I'm Lily, and today I'm going to jump right into the latest Warrior Cats book in the Broken Code arc, The Place of No Stars. It's going to be so much fun. I really enjoyed this book, and I am just totally going to talk about spoilers. This is the 5th book in this, in the series, so at this point, there's just almost no way to make this spoiler free. So if you haven't read the book, or you're halfway through the book or something, just giving you a warning. But if you don't mind spoilers or have read it, then awesome. Let's jump in, because I've got some thoughts and ideas as well as some points I'd love to make about this book. First of all, I want to say I really I love the cover of this book. I know sometimes I end up talking about the cover a lot, but I really love the red and blue aesthetic, and since obviously it's spoilers, Ashfur's eyes are just really pop. And I also think the red too gives it a little bit of a fiery look, which I think is nice because, we associate Ashfur with the fire scene. But enough about the cover. That was just my quick little... I actually really like this cover. It's probably my favorite out of all the covers so far in this arc. I really like the full body pieces better than the headshots, but this one I think actually looks nice. So that's just my one little note on that. But let's jump into the book itself. Oh, I'm so excited. So the Broken Code arc to me has been, honestly, it's pretty much at this point. When I was at book 3, I didn't want to say this is my favorite arc, because sometimes after that things tend to kind of flop like A Vision of Shadows did. But now I'm really sure that the Broken Code is my favorite arc. I'm sorry, Dawn of the Clans, but this is my favorite arc. This book started out a little slow, which is probably my only nitpick at all, is I feel like the book starts out with a lot of recapping. Like, not even just one scene of recapping, which is nice. I'm glad there was some recapping, because, when you wait so long in between books, it's nice to have a little bit of a recap of what was going on, because they throw you right in the action. But this one had probably like 4 instances or more of recapping, and I was at some point going, okay, that's enough of that. But then they threw you right in the action after that, so I felt like by the time I finished the book, I had forgotten that happened, and I kind of had to rethink about and go, yeah, that was something I didn't care about at the time. But in hindsight, that's me trying to find something that I would say I didn't like. And I wanted to get that out of the way at the first start. So at the beginning of the book, it's a little bit slow, but then the action picks up right away and goes full force, and it's awesome. So I just love this. I could gush about it. I think this is the best book 5 since the Prophecies Begin arc and the Dangerous Path. And I know a lot of people like Long Shadows, but if you remember Long Shadows, it's kind of boring until you get to the fire scene. So yeah, this is probably the most interesting book 5, even with the recapping front end of the book, because I feel like the last book was sort of a filler book. It still was interesting to me. Darkness Within was still a good book. It didn't have any like whoa moments, but it had, or like moments that made me go like actually like squeal like really loud. I'm not kidding. Where I was excited, or like this book, The Place of No Stars, genuinely creeped me out in some instances. I'm not kidding. It actually spooked me, but which is what I wanted. I loved that, but it did. But Darkness Within was just, yeah, this is cool. It just was it was a nice book. Like the sister summoning ghost scene was probably like the most cool moment, but it wasn't like whoa. But this book really did that for me, because it was going slow and I was like, oh no, don't let this book be a flop. And then suddenly Willowshine died and I was like, oh no. Oh my, I did not see that coming. I did not expect Willowshine to die this arc. I've really kind of wondered if Mothwing would end up dying. But now I see where they're going with her a little bit more, and I actually don't think she is going to die at this point. I don't think. I mean, who knows? This arc has been up and down a lot. Like, a lot of the deaths I've been able to predict, but not Willowshine. Willowshine I really did not see happening until she was like, yeah, I have no intention of dying, and I'm like, uh-oh. Oh no. Yeah, so I didn't expect that to happen. And oh, Willowshine in the place of no stars, the Dark Forest. Oh, that was being controlled. That was wonderful. Genuinely gave me chills because I saw it coming, but oh man, that freaked me out so bad. Anytime like mind control stuff like that happens, it just, ugh, it's creepy. But I loved it. But yeah, Willowshine. Oh, I felt so bad, but I actually think it was a really interesting. I really appreciate that risk because anytime a medicine cat dies in a series, like really dies, not just like Shadowsight getting knocked off a cliff and kind of being like sort of dead, but you know, still able to be healed and brought back, you know, like actually killing a medicine cat in an arc, not between arcs. Sorry, Leafpool. But like killing a medicine cat in an arc when a real situation's going on, that's risky and I love it. In the series, we don't see that a whole lot. Like Cinderpelt was like the last time we lost a medicine cat while like action was going on. Like, I mean, in, you know, like majorly, like Little Cloud, I think like passed away of sickness or something, but it was kind of like, nah, you know, like some big reason, some big plot reason a medicine cat died in an arc, not between arcs. It was like Cinderpelt. So I was really like, woo. Because that stands the question is now RiverClan doesn't have a medicine cat, technically. Mothwing seems to be wanting to go back, which is nice. But, you know, she's pretty old, so I've got some things to talk about a little bit with that first. Before I start talking more about the Place of No Stars, I want to talk about this before I forget. But I really, really love Mothwing's character arc through this particular series because Mothwing's had a lot of development and it kind of makes sense because this book is a very religious based arc. You know, StarClan's gone, there's a lot of ghost cats, Mothwing's been known to have problems with faith, and I feel like this book has really highlighted that and it's shown her ups and downs, her conflict, and I love it. You know, like the last arc, not the last arc, the last book, Mothwing was kind of giving Shadowsight a hard time, and I know a lot of people were really struggling with that, especially Mothwing fans. I'm kind of on the fence on Mothwing. I don't hate her, I don't love her. I'm not like, you know, oh, Mothwing, they hurt your character. Like, no, Mothwing's always kind of been like that, to be quite honest. She's always been kind of self-righteous, if you really read about her a lot. But, you know, whatever. I do like Mothwing. But, I'm not a Mothwing hater. But, I really love how this book, like, losing Willowshine kind of slapped Mothwing in the face enough to realize that she was being a jerk and that this was more serious than she kept giving it credit for. And Mothwing ends up being the hero. She's really the reason why Shadowsight can do what he does. She helps him, she supports him, and I don't think I would have appreciated this development without seeing her be a jerk last arc. I really, really love where Mothwing's going. A lot. It's been really nice to see that. You know, she stands up to Tigerstar, and she stands up for Shadowsight, and it's really great, but it only makes an impact because she was kind of a jerk last book. So, I really love all that. And it's also interesting because now Mothwing has to face a decision. I have a feeling she'll probably end up back in RiverClan again. Just because that's probably what will happen. I don't think that she'll end up staying in ShadowClan. She kind of already said a couple points in there that her heart's tugging her back, and I have a feeling that's probably true. You know, they can't let Alderheart be RiverClan's medicine cat forever. So I have a feeling that she'll probably go back, but it is interesting because I guess I'll just go ahead and talk about this now. Going forward in the series, it'll be kind of interesting to see what happens because so far we've had, you know, we have a ShadowClan, SkyClan, and ThunderClan POV this book. Well, you know, we're starting to think about the characters we'll have for the next arc because sadly we've only got one more book left in this series and, you know, it's approaching fast and then you kind of have to go, well, will our next protagonist be? They're usually young cats. And Spotfur just had kits. And then lo and behold in RiverClan, we have some new kits. And I think the whole fandom as a whole, at least the people I'm around, have been like screaming very loudly for RiverClan to get more love. I think a lot of people would love to see RiverClan, especially me for sure, want to see RiverClan get some more on-screen time. And I think that it's Curlfeather is her name. I do read the allegiances a lot because I like to know all the cats, but I think it's Curlfeather is the queen in RiverClan who has 3 kits. It's Mist Kit, Gray Kit, and Frost Kit. And it's kind of... I half wonder if one of them will end up being a Medicine Cat apprentice. And I hope that's the case for a couple reasons. One, they're at a perfect age where they would make really good protagonists for the next arc. Depending on how long, like, that far jump, like, how far of a jump that makes. But I kind of think Spotfur's kits are going to be important, since the sisters made a big deal out of that, so... And the Errands in general gave Spotfur a novella, which was awesome, and I'll talk about later in another chat. That'll be more of a character corner type discussion. But it would be interesting to have maybe a Medicine Cat POV from RiverClan, because that's something that would be just really nice to have in the main series. But anyway, that's speculation. I wonder, because now that Willowshine's gone, Mothwing needs to train an apprentice, Mothwing just got a nice arc, it would be really cool to see one of those kittens maybe decide to be a Medicine Cat for RiverClan, or maybe need to be a Medicine Cat for RiverClan, something along those lines. And it would be super interesting to fold RiverClan into the plot and give them some real things to tackle. It would just be really cool. But that's just... It's not so much a theory, it's more... I doubt that'll happen, but that would be super cool if it happens. But anyway, alright, let's jump back in the book. The real big stuff is the Dark Forest in general, or the Place of No Stars, if you want to call it that, because that's the name of the book, is, changing gears here. That's just the star of the show, hence the title. It's amazingly done. For one thing, I think in Omen of the Stars and, well, New Prophecy, Power 3, and Omen of the Stars, we didn't get a lot of the Dark Forest. We got a lot of them, like, fighting or being beat up, or these meetings of Dark Forest cats. Like, we got a lot of that kind of thing. We didn't really know the forest that well as a whole. And I really love this book because all 3 protagonists spend some time there, some more than others, but really a lot of time there, and you get to see, like, all of what it's like, and I really love that. And especially not from a character like, say, Ivypool, who's familiar with it, or is bitter already, but from cats who have a real kind of more pureness to them that are, being there. I thought that was really interesting, and it really kept me focused. It was really fun. I've been wanting the Dark Forest to come back, because ever since Omen of the Stars, I feel like that was kind of anticlimactic. Like the last battle, the final battle, or whatever it's called, the 6th book in Omen of the Stars, the last book, where Firestar dies. It kind of ends, even though it's a good ending, it ends kind of anticlimactically, because, a lot of the cats escape. The Dark Forest is still there, and it's not like it got destroyed and sucked into itself or something. Like, it existed. And I was just wondering why we never addressed that. Like, it's just sitting there. So I'm really, really happy to see it coming back and being relevant. And I'm really happy to see these cats getting tackled more as a whole, that some cats regret what they're doing, which brings me to Snowtuft. If you've watched some of my earlier videos, I've been like, please give a Dark Forest cat a super edition, or I'll even take a novella at this point, but seriously, a super edition, please let it be Snowtuft, because he's my favorite. He was always the most interesting and mysterious. And I've wanted him to come back. I've never felt like he was a bad guy, even back then, because I was like, he's kind of just, like, he's there. He must have done something bad, but he's kind of like Ant Pelt's level of bad, where it's kind of like, I'm sure you did some wrong things, but at the same time, you're probably not all that bad and kind of soft. But I'm not kidding. I was probably like squealed so loud when he attacked Shadowsight and then he popped up and I'm like, it's Snowtuft! Even before he said it, I got so happy because I'm so glad to see him get a real personality. I'm so glad to see him being a good guy. Like, it's like the Errands could have picked anyone and it was Snowtuft, and I'm so happy because he just, It's my boy. I'm just so glad to see him get some time on screen, a redemption arc. Hopefully, that's what I'm hoping for. I kind of feel like he's halfway there already, so I'm just like, please let him have a redemption arc. Please let him have a redemption arc. I don't even care if he dies at the end of it. I just want to see him get some time to develop, and I'm just so happy. I also really love, like, I wondered if he was Shadow Clan or Wind Clan. I wasn't sure. I'm really glad him being Snow Kit is, like, that whole theory is kind of gone now. He's Shadow Clan. We know that. He was definitely a warrior. But we don't actually know what place and time he was in, which I do find interesting. He mentions knowing, and this gets into a little theory. I'd love to make a whole video on Shadowsight later, but I'll touch on this. And I'll explain I'll pack it up with evidence later. I'll make a video, like a theory video on Snow Tuft or something for a character corner. But anyway, the point of it is, we actually don't know when Snow Tuft lived. Because a lot of people are going, oh, I think I know because it's, you know, he says he knows Tigerstar, but Tigerstar was in the Dark Forest with him, and Tigerstar talked about wanting to get rid of Firestar, and he could have taken over the forest. That doesn't mean Snow Tuft actually fought in the Great Battle with Tigerstar. He doesn't have very many memories. They're all jumbled around. It's supported in the text pretty well. This is also backed up by him not remembering who Oakfur is. Oakfur was alive during the Great Battle, so if he doesn't remember Oakfur, he did not probably live at that time, unless the Aarons made a mistake, but I kind of don't think that's the case. I think Snowfur is probably more ancient than we realize. Can't pin down an exact point, but I'm going to attempt to, and so yeah, I'll talk about that later, but I was so happy to see Snow Tuft come back. That was spectacular. I did not expect that to happen, and I was just so happy by that. It's really good to see characters remembered and brought back and given time to develop. I think that's one thing that Broken Code's done in general for a lot of characters, especially some of the bonus books, like the super editions and the novellas that have gone with them. Like, I'm not going to talk about the Warrior's Choice novella set yet. I'm actually not finished with it completely, but I'm working on Spot First. But it's really good. But those novellas take a lot of time to develop side characters that haven't gotten attention a while or never did. And same with the super editions. I really feel like they do some really good things, as well as the arc like the main arc in general. That's one really good thing about this series as a whole. So I love that Snow Tuft came back. This whole book is just so creepy in a good way. I've never actually been kind of scared from reading a Warrior Cats book. I'm actually really not scared by fiction in general, but I was actually just so immersed in the Dark Forest because these characters have that like that pure innocence of not really knowing what it is. Like, they're only hearing these legends of it. And I also think there was strategic work on the Aaron's part of, Shadowsight being Tigerheartstar's son. Like, that is so good because his father trained there. And then Bristlefrost has this wonderful talk with Ivypool. I love that moment because Ivypool is one of my favorite cats, and I loved seeing her talk with her daughter and have like a real good moment. I also really love the moment with Shadowsight and Tigerheartstar, but I feel like those moments are so important because the talks in them, when they're talking with their kids, it just feels so heartfelt, and it's wonderful to see them interacting. It's wonderful to see this in the sense too that these cats, both of them, Ivypool and Tigerheartstar, trained in the Dark Forest, and now their kids are going there on this mission, and it's just so good and almost it's almost poetic. I love it. Root Spring's more removed from that, but it's still so good. And I was really happy with that. I think there's a lot of good character moments where characters talk and, and do things and chat with each other a little bit. And I love that. It's good to see that. Amidst all the turmoil and this action, there's good moments like that. But the creepiness, oh yes. The creepness. Oh, I love it. Like when Ashfur is actually talking with Bramblestar's voice through the spirit cats, it's just, oh, it's so good. It's so spooky, but it's so good. And, you know, Willowshine actually being controlled the entire time. I knew it was going to happen. And I was like, no, Rootspring, don't listen to her. She's totally not. She's not Willowshine. She's being controlled. And, you know, Darkstripe still being a lackey. Of course, that figures. But, you know, it was just so good. And then, you know, Bramblestar, I don't care for. I kind of want him to die, as well as I kind of want Squirrelflight to die this arc too. They both come back, but I do feel like something's gonna happen in the final battle. I have a feeling that will probably surprise us, because this book has definitely given me some surprises. So we'll have to see. But they've come back, so that's really cool. And in general, just the whole Dark Forest was just so neat. The mist, which is gonna do something later, I'm sure. They emphasize the mist a lot in the book, and how it's shrinking the Dark Forest and the cats are fading, and it was cool to see that Mapleshade's still alive in there. And, you know, Ashfur's plan really is to actually get more cats to be possessed by other Dark Forest cats, or who knows what else he's got up his sleeve, but that really is his plan, because I've been kind of figuring that must be the plan all along with the other leaders. But now I'm like, aha, so it was the Dark Forest cats. So Silverhawk, Mapleshade, and Darkstripe are still out there, and Mapleshade is totally willing to do that, so it's kind of weird. We'll have to see where this ends up going. I'm just like, ooh, this could get interesting. Yeah, it'll be super cool. I ended up really wanting this arc to have Soul, but I'm really loving Ashfur actually as a villain. Ashfur was sort of one of those villains that was kind of like cowardly, and he was sort of like unprepared, just jumping in at a moment, taking advantage of it. But this time I feel like he's really thought through a lot of his moves, not all his moves, but he's thought through quite a bit more of them than he has before, and I like that. He feels like he's been a really good villain all arc, and he stayed the villain all arc. Even though the Cole breaking the code thing hasn't been as important of a focus anymore, despite the name of the book, which is just one of my nitpicks with the arc as a whole. It's like, it probably shouldn't be called the Broken Code, since that's not really a problem now. But, unless of course they bring it up, like, at the end of the book. Like, at the end of the arc, I mean. But, as a whole, Ashfur's been a really phenomenal villain to have. And, yeah, I guess that about sums up most of my thoughts. There are a lot of things I want to cover with this book in other bits and pieces. I do think Shadowsight might die this book. Not this book. This arc. He has a line in there where he's like, it started with me and it'll end with me. I'm like, oh no, my boy. And Graystripe, I kind of wonder if he will too. Probably will die this arc, I have a feeling. I liked seeing him stand up and become a leader. You know, because he had a whole book where he had a really good... I like Graystripe's Vow a lot. I don't think it's the best Super Edition, but I think it's a really good Super Edition. And I think he had a really good arc, and it had good meaning in it, and I really liked seeing that him develop through that. And I liked seeing him come back and have some confidence to lead and really organize them, because Lionblaze just isn't really good at that. Poor Lionblaze. You try your best, bub, but you're just not a good leader. But anyway, I think that sums up my thoughts. I love this book. I can't even express enough how amazing it had, the moments it had. I know I'm not covering everything, but this is just sort of my survey of the high points. It's just phenomenal. If you haven't read it yet and you listened anyway, that's okay. If you haven't read it yet, go read it, because I didn't talk about everything in it, because there's things I want to talk about with other like character corners or analyses or theories and things like that. But I really, really love this book. I can't say that enough. It's just so good. And I don't say that about just every book either. Like, this is a really good book. Some of the books this year have been fantastic. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe some time at home writing from, like, COVID or whatever's helped that. I don't know. But it's been really, really good story. I found it really great. And I'm excited. So I really want to have a theory video about Mothwing going forward, the next arc moving forward, because that's something we have to think about. Next year we'll be starting a new arc. And, you know, assuming they keep writing one, but I think they're setting it up. And yeah, and I'd also really like to talk about Snowtuff. So join me back here sometime for those chats, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.